Hey friends, good morning. Katie Mild, welcome to this week's Money Minute. You know, I decided to mix it up and shoot things on my phone. I just had this idea and I wanted to share it with you as quickly as I could. So, hence the phone instead of the laptop. At this time of the year, the Christmas season, the holiday season, and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all of you, by the way. It's really, really easy to get totally absorbed with consumerism. Now, as Americans, we kind of fall into that trap anyway, right? We are a country focused on consumption, okay? And I could do a whole other video dedicated to that, but particularly around the holidays, particularly around the November, December timeframe of every year, our culture ramps it up, right? You can't turn on TV, open a magazine, look at social media without seeing another ad for a new car, new clothes, new vacations post-pandemic, stuff, jewelry, all the stuff, right? To show our loved ones how much we love them. Now, I can talk about this in another video, but the average American goes about $1,000 into debt for gifts around this time of year. And I think that some of that, it's not only driven by wanting to show love to the people that we adore and love in our lives, right? But it's also this need to feel wealthy, to feel rich, and sometimes to feel wealthy and rich beyond our true means, okay? So this holiday season, I want to give you a few ways, a few ideas for how to feel wealthy even when you're not. How to feel wealthy even when you're on maybe your debt payoff journey, when you're on your savings journey, when you're trying to get your financial life in order. It can feel like a slog. It can feel like a lot sometimes. And so here are a few ways to think beyond the typical consumerism, okay? So I think one of the most powerful things that you can do when you're feeling down on yourself, when you feel like you don't have enough, you've got to get out of your own head. You have to get out of your head and you have to think outward. So here are just a few ideas for how to think outward, how to think beyond yourself, and how to give generously to feel wealthy on your own financial journey, even when you're not wealthy yet in the traditional sense, okay? So a few ideas for you. You know, you go to the grocery store or really any store right now and you see the red Salvation Army bucket and the volunteer out front ringing the bell. It's one of my favorite things to witness during the holiday season. Rather than throw in your spare change or like a buck, maybe you can throw in a 20 or a 10 or a 5, something beyond what you would normally throw in. And here's, I think, the ultimate boss move on that. Put it in an inconspicuous way, put it in really, really quickly, don't draw attention, and then keep walking, okay? The idea is to really flex that stealth wealth muscle that you have. Throw it in the bucket and keep going. Wish to volunteer Merry Christmas and keep it moving, okay? Another idea would be, listen, this has been a tough year for everybody, but some of us are struggling more than others, okay? So do you have a family member? Do you have a colleague? Do you have a friend who you know is going through something extra tough this season and you know they need help? Reach out and offer to send them dinner. You know, keep things socially distanced, maybe support a local business, but offer to buy dinner and have it sent to them. This is also a great tip if you have friends who just had a baby and they don't feel like cooking, they're exhausted. Send them a meal and just make sure that they're getting some good nourishment, okay? So that's another idea. Send a copy of your favorite personal finance book. Send a copy of that book to a friend who you think maybe is struggling financially but would be receptive to some new ideas. Send them a copy of your favorite book and just spread that knowledge. That is an incredible gift that you can give. Let's see, what else do we have? Here's a great one. Reach out to a local charity near you. I'm not talking necessarily a big national well-known organization. There are a lot of organizations, local nonprofits and charities near you right now who are struggling. Really, really, especially this year, struggling. And they don't necessarily get the media coverage and the big, huge donation checks that some of the more nationally known, recognized organizations get. Nothing wrong with those organizations, but remember, you have local nonprofits in your backyard right now who desperately need help, and they don't have access to some of those big picture resources, okay? Reach out to one of those, ask them what they really, really need, and go find that need, find the need and fill it. Here's a quick example. a lot of homeless shelters, they actually don't necessarily need food donations. What they need are things like feminine products, feminine sanitation products, okay? Or they need things like socks. Socks are the #1 most requested item by homeless people in homeless shelters, okay? But it's also one of those items that people don't think about giving. It's not a glamorous item. There's nothing sexy or glamorous or super fun about giving socks, but it's needed, it's critical, and it helps keep someone just a little bit warmer, just a little bit healthier, and a little bit safer, especially during these cold winter months, okay? So find an organization near you and ask them, what is something that you really, really need that you're not getting enough of? And then go buy that item for them, okay? Let's see. If you are eating out at restaurants, if you're ordering takeout, whatever you are doing during these times, maybe leave an anonymous, very, very generous tip. And then here's the thing, don't draw attention to it. Leave a tip, move on with your life, okay? Again, flex that stealth wealth muscle, okay? So guys, those are just a few ways, a few tips that you can start to feel a little bit wealthy this season, even if you're not actually wealthy yet. It's so important that when we are in our own depressive state, when we're in our own funk, when we're in a stage where we feel like we're not making progress, that's when you've got to turn your energy outward. That's when you've got to give and go be generous. Find the need, fill the need, and move on with your life. Okay, so those are just a few tips for you this week. Tell me in the comments below, what are some ways, if you want to, what are some ways that maybe you and your friends, you and your family give back? Do you have traditions? Do you, again, this is a strange year with the pandemic, but do you normally volunteer at a local homeless shelter or a food bank? Tell me about some of your holiday season generosity traditions below. Ask me any questions. I'm always listening. And subscribe, hit the bell to subscribe. And in the meantime, guys, have a great holiday season. Remember, if you're in doubt, if you're living in fear, if you're having some of these thoughts, think outward. How can you give? How can you fill a need today and make someone else's day? That is the true spirit of Christmas, and that is the true spirit of wealth. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Talk to you later.